The WWE is the biggest wrestling company in the world, but over its history spanning multiple decades, there have been 7 men who shaped eras, defined generations, and made the WWE what it is today. This is the story of those 7 men who changed WWE forever. To understand WWE's history, you have to start at the very beginning. And at the beginning, there was Bruno Sammartino. Born in a small village in war-torn Italy, Bruno emigrated to Pittsburgh with his family and eventually discovered the Iron Weight Room that would transform his life. Wrestling wasn't just a career for Bruno. It was survival, identity, and eventually, his purpose. Before Bruno took center stage, the WWE, then known as the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, had its first champion in Buddy Rogers, a flamboyant, cocky showman who held the belt for just weeks before the young Italian strongman put an end to his reign. On May 17, 1963, at Madison Square Garden, Bruno Sammartino defeated Buddy Rogers in just 48 seconds to become the second world heavyweight champion of the company. And then, he just didn't lose. He spent 2,803 consecutive days as champion. No one in the history of professional wrestling has ever come close to that number, and maybe no one ever will. During that reign, Bruno carried the entire company. He defended the title against every villain they could throw at him. Killer Kowalski, Fred Blassie, Gorilla Monsoon, George the Animal Steele. Night after night, city after city, Bruno walked into those arenas as the people's protector, and he always walked out with the belt. He sold out Madison Square Garden on a scale no wrestler had ever managed before, and his connection with fans, particularly Italian, Latino, and immigrant communities across the Northeast, was unlike anything the sport had seen. Terry Funk once said that Sammartino was bigger than wrestling itself, and that wasn't an exaggeration. When he finally lost the title to Ivan Koloff in 1971, the crowd at MSG went completely silent due to disbelief. WWE reportedly didn't even announce the result for fear of a riot. But Bruno's story wasn't finished. After a brief absence, he reclaimed the championship in 1973 and held it for another 3.5 years, surviving a broken neck suffered during a match against Stan Hansen before finally surrendering the title to superstar Billy Graham in 1977. In total, Bruno held the championship for over 11 combined years. His final major feud came against former protege Larry Zbyszko, who turned on his mentor in 1980 in one of wrestling's biggest betrayals. Sammartino laid the blueprint of what a wrestling star who carried the sport looked like. Every long championship reign that followed, every babyface champion who the fans emotionally invested in, every hero who stood tall against impossible odds, that template started with Bruno. But after Bruno's departure, the torch needed to be passed to the next megastar, and in the early 80s, the torch was grabbed by the most iconic pair of 24-inch pythons the sport had ever seen. By 1983, the WWF needed a new direction. Bob Backlund had been a dependable champion, but the wrestling landscape was changing. Vince McMahon Jr. had taken over the company from his father and had a vision that went far beyond regional territories. He wanted to take WWF national. To do that, he needed a star unlike anything the industry had ever produced. He found one and had a vision that went far beyond regional territories. He wanted to take WWF national. To do that, he needed a star unlike anything the industry had ever produced. He found one in Terry Bollea.